Welcome back to Still a Part of Us. We have just had a wonderful conversation with Emily and about her son Dexter. And oh wow, what a huge influence that he's had on so many people. And so Emily, thank you again. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with us today.
Thank you.
So as a bit of like context, can you tell us at the time of this recording how long ago Dexter was born?
14 weeks today.
14 weeks today, everybody. So it is just several months, and that is just so. It really is so recent. So grateful that you were willing to come and chat with us. And in a nutshell, can you tell us what happened to Dexter and like what age he was when he was born?
Yep, Dexter. I had a terminal diagnosis with Dexter that I got at 12 weeks. And Dexter was born at 38 weeks. I was induced after a long 25-hour labour. Dexter was born, unfortunately, he passed away 2 hours before he was born.
Mm.
He then came home and spent 10 days making memories with me and my family.
And I cannot stress enough, if you haven't had a chance to listen to Emily's story and Dexter's story, I highly encourage you to listen to the birth story that we have that accompanies this episode as well, because it is incredible. And it just was so happy, so incredibly happy to hear all that you were able to do with Dexter. And I just, a little bit, like I said, we've talked about regrets and stuff, and I'm like, I have a little bit of regret that I didn't have more time with my son. And so I just think it's lovely what you were able to do. So I realize it has only been 14 weeks for you and your family. And I'm curious, how would you say your grief has been in those first several, like these first 3 months or so? How would you describe it for those who
Um,
are going through it even earlier than now?
I think even though Dexter had a terminal diagnosis, I think him actually passing was still a shock.
Yeah.
And it
Yes.
still hit me very hard, even though I had time to prepare and I thought that would help me because I had that time to prepare. But I guess I didn't want my pregnancy to be about that. I didn't want the time he was alive to be about his death.
Mhm.
So it wasn't until he had passed away that processing his death started. I think having him at home and having that time and making the memories that we made, I think for me has made a huge difference in how I've been able to grieve.
Yeah.
Um, I've got so many fond memories of Dexter um, from the time I was carrying him and the time that we had him with us at home. And even though he wasn't alive while he was at home, I still felt he was here with us.
Hmm.
Like we said in the other episode, I felt that when we took him for a walk, I felt that when the sun was on his face, he enjoyed that. He really loved his face relaxed, and he just seemed so content. And the little moments like that are things that bring me comfort when I feel really sad. I think there's a few things I wasn't expecting in the last 14 weeks. I tried to prepare as much as I could, that I knew that Dexter wasn't going to be coming home, but I didn't expect. I think in my head, I knew he wasn't going to be coming home. I
Yeah.
didn't expect my body to feel the way that it felt after he was born.
Yeah.
Um, the longingness I had to be with my baby was so overwhelming. The longingness to have him close to me, which I hadn't anticipated. I didn't think that was going to be quite as hard to kind of navigate. Um, I took a tablet to stop my milk coming in,
Hmm.
um, which actually is probably my biggest regret. I
Oh.
wish I hadn't.
Mm.
I think it was that moment of there was lots of information and people were saying a lot of things, but my brain wasn't processing what was happening, and I just took it without even
Hmm.
thinking. I would have liked to have produced milk. I would have liked to have potentially donated milk. I think I would have liked to have kept some milk
Yeah.
as a memory. So that is a regret that I do have. But I am really grateful to myself for preparing things like his face castings and his hand and feet castings, because I know when I get them back, I know the comfort that I'm going to get from those.
Yeah.
There was a moment I had just before Christmas where I kind of had the realization that I wasn't going to look at any new photos of Dexter,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I found really difficult. That actually all the photos I had were all I was ever going to have. And I think that hit me quite hard. But then things like the castings are things that I feel like I've got to look forward to,
Mm-hmm.
that are still on our journey. I'm still waiting for the castings.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're going to bring a level of comfort that I need, that I haven't had up until this point. So yeah, I think I don't know whether I'm naive in thinking that I can continue with the grief feeling the way that it does. It feels manageable. I feel like because I knew that this was going to be the outcome, and because I know that I did everything I possibly could to treasure the moments that I had with Dexter, the grief feels manageable.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's all consuming, which I've heard other mothers say that their grief is. So I feel grateful that that's how it's feeling at the moment. I don't know if that will continue to be how it feels, but at the moment it's nothing that I would ever want to go through.
Yes.
But at the same time, it almost feels like to feel this level of emotion for someone, just I can't even think of the words to explain it, just clarifies how much I loved him.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't be feeling this. I wouldn't have
Yes.
this feeling
Yes.
if I hadn't felt the love that I have for him,
Yes. Yes. That's exactly.
if that makes sense.
Oh, it does completely. Yeah. You're just like, your heart can, yes, because of the capacity for it to love him so much.
And almost
Yeah.
I'm okay with the sadness,
Yeah.
because that proves that the love was so.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? It's such a
Yes.
hard thing to explain, but I can deal with this sadness because I know that it's for the reason that he meant so much.
Exactly. He was so, so loved. And you have such, yeah. It is a funny thing. It is a funny thing, this grief that it is. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it to people either, which is like that longing, that sadness, that but so much love, so much like joy. I speaking of when you mentioned the holidays, because that was essentially a month after, about a month after he was born. Is that about right?
Yeah, Dexter was due at the beginning of December, but I decided to be induced on the 20th of November because I was really mindful of Christmas.
Yes.
I originally, at the beginning of my pregnancy, had decided, like, had already stated, like, I wasn't going to be induced. I wanted baby to decide what was going to happen. But the further it got into my pregnancy, and the further it got to the point where actually there was a really good chance I was going to get to term. I was going to get to, there was kind of nothing going wrong that could have gone wrong. I made the conscious decision to be induced, because I was really mindful that not only did I want Dexter to have his own time, I wanted him to have his special time, that we would always remember each year, that
Yeah.
wasn't clashing with something else.
Yes.
But I was also really mindful that I wanted Rosie to still enjoy the magic of Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
that she still deserved that as well. And although Christmas was really, really hard, we had some lovely clear evenings over Christmas where the stars were so super bright. We would put our coats on and go outside and sit
Yeah.
and just watch the stars.
Yeah.
We did that on Christmas Eve, and it just felt lovely that he was he was there with us in the way that Rosie understood that he was there with us.
Yeah.
Um,
It,
whereas
yeah.
after he was cremated, it was really cloudy for a few days.
Yeah.
So I had to keep saying that he was hiding in the stars. So for him to come out and to be really, really bright in the sky over Christmas was really lovely.
Yeah. What a yes. A tender little moment. If you have please go listen to Emily's episode of Dexter's birth, because she does talk about how she sang Twinkle Twinkle Little Star to him. She talked about him being in the stars when she was talking about him to Rosie. So that is very significant that it was clear around Christmas time. I think that's so beautiful. And so you haven't so you've done the holidays, and that in itself is really hard. I think doing traversing the holidays without a loved one can be difficult. And are you anticipating kind of preparing yourself or doing anything special for other ones that are coming up? Because I'm just going to say that Mother's Day can be a little bit of a wreck. And same thing, I feel like if you are Christian, sometimes Easter can be really difficult. Sometimes it was difficult for me. So I'm wondering if you've thought forward to some of those other holidays or milestones that might be a little bit tricky.
I haven't, if I'm totally honest. The
Yeah,
thing that's
yeah.
playing on my mind, I have to be honest, is that for me, I keep thinking of the kind of timeline of my pregnancy.
Mm,
Um, and I think something I have found quite challenging to navigate, I think, is that I remember when Rosie was little and I remember going through the whole, oh my God, how is my baby 6 weeks old?
yeah,
And oh my gosh, how on earth is she 10 weeks old? And oh my God, how on earth is she 3 months old? And I found it quite hard to be, oh my gosh, Dexter should be 3 weeks old. And
yeah,
oh my gosh, he should be 10 weeks old. Or I think the hardest one is, oh my gosh, I held him for the last time 10 weeks ago. I think that has been something that's been quite challenging to navigate to now. And I almost feel like the timeline of my pregnancy may be challenging. Like I've got photos and videos of when I took the first pregnancy test
yeah.
at the end of March. And I
Oh,
kind of feel like that might be, oh my goodness, this time last year I found out about you.
yeah,
And then that first scan where I was told about his condition, I feel like that's going to be quite a poignant day of,
yeah,
oh my God, this time last year, my whole life changed. Actually, everything
yeah,
that I had hoped had changed. Um, and then the day that I found out that he was Dexter, I feel like that's another big.
yeah.
So I haven't anticipated anything else. I think obviously his birthday is something that's going to be.
That birthdays.
Yeah, I haven't allowed myself to think too much about it at the moment, but I do want to do something. I want to try and start a tradition that we do every year. I
Yes.
just haven't allowed myself to have the headspace of that yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit off, so there's time.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of time with that one.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've said this a few times, and you've said it in the other episode, and you kind of I think you alluded to it earlier, but you mentioned there were so many words people were asking you to process at a time of great stress and trauma, and you said that you couldn't quite take it in. Can you kind of talk a little bit more about that? Just kind of speak to others out there that are maybe supporting those who are going through this experience, or even other moms that are maybe in this situation and it's still kind of early on. But can you talk about how that's a that's a pretty real thing that happens, is that you just cannot process all the things that they're trying to tell you. And
Yeah, I think I'm a single mum by choice and I love being a single mum.
mm-hmm.
But there are some times that I wish there was someone else to
Mm,
take information for me. I think the day that Dexter passed away was one of those days, was the day that there was a lot to take in. And I wish there had been someone else that could have prioritized the information that I needed to know
yeah.
in that moment. Yeah, I think it's really hard to know. I think for me in those moments, it was really hard to trust myself.
Mm.
It was really hard to trust that what I was thinking was sustainable with how I was feeling. Like my thought process felt like it was on a different path to the way that my whole body
Mm.
felt, and I
Mm-hmm.
felt it really challenging to kind of um to make the decisions of how long I was going to have for Dexter. Did I want to bath him? Did I want to put this clothing on? Did I want a photographer here? Did I want my mum to meet him? Did all of these things that, did I want to eat?
Yeah.
Did I need a shower? Did I need the toilet at that moment? I couldn't even to a point process whether my physical needs were being met
Yeah.
in that moment,
Yeah.
because there was just so much information and just so much that I couldn't get my head around. And I think again that kind of brain fog and that processing really calmed down when I got home. And although a lot of the things I still needed to address, being in my own environment and having the comforts around me helped me with that.
Yes.
When you're in a different room and a different environment with different smells and different tastes and different sights, that almost exacerbates the way that
Mm-hmm.
you're overwhelmed anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
I think as soon as I got home and everything kind of calmed,
Mm-hmm.
then all the thoughts and all the things I needed to process kind of came in line, and I was able to make those decisions.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I really hate giving advice because I think everyone's so different.
It is. Yes, it is true.
Everyone copes so differently, and what may have been good for me may be completely wrong for someone else. So
Right.
the only advice that I have for anyone is to, and it's really hard because in that moment you are so overwhelmed, but you almost have to really dig deep and find the strength, because time runs out so quickly that you have to find the strength to make sure that you get what you need to make it bearable. Because if you don't do that for yourself,
Yeah.
then you are just going to regret it. And that regret is, for me, the hardest thing. I feel like if I hadn't of that Friday evening that I needed Dexter back, I knew that I was going to have him back. There was going to be no one that was going to tell me I couldn't have my baby. And I didn't know how that was going to look or where that was going to be, but I just knew that I needed him. And I knew for me and for my peace, I had to carry on with that. I couldn't just go, okay, it's not going to happen, because I wouldn't have been able to cope with that.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just trying to find your inner strength in the darkest time to make sure you get what you need in the situation, which is really hard to say because you do just want to fall into a hole and be left
Yes.
alone
Yeah.
and be in a black hole, but you're not gonna find any peace from that black hole.
Yeah.
It may be in that specific moment, but in the long run that hole isn't going to help you. You need to find the strength to get what you need to make life continuously bearable.
Yeah. I like that because it really is so easy just to, like you said, the fall into it and have the fog just, and you just, okay, whatever, because many decisions in a hospital get made for you. Um, if you don't make it, then somebody's going to make it for you,
Yeah,
and
someone
then
has to make it.
yeah,
That's
and
the thing.
then
Time is so precious, isn't it?
exactly, yeah, and then unfortunately, there's things that you will end up regretting because of not being able to do something that maybe you are able to speak up for, so that you can have it be the situation as best as possible in a really terrible situation. Be so. Yeah, I think that's good advice and tough advice too, right? I mean, it's
I think for me, that's the one thing that I'm hoping that my TikTok is going to be able to kind of promote, is that in the UK, I can't say all, but most NHS hospitals
hmm
have cuddle cots. and the option is there to take your baby home.
Yeah.
It's not utilized that much. Like
Yeah.
the option's there, but it's not utilized that much. But I'm hoping that by spreading awareness and by spreading the joy in the things that we did to make memories,
Mm-hmm.
that hopefully it will find one poor mum or dad or nan or aunt or gran or anyone that's going to be in that situation that can say, I saw a lady on TikTok and she took her baby home, and actually, let's do that.
Yeah, I
Let's
want
just
to do
have
that.
one day.
Yeah.
And see how it goes. And if that person does it, and I know from experience, you won't regret it.
Yeah.
Like there won't be regretting that, and you will thank yourself. And if someone watching me take Dexter for a walk can promote them to think I can do that too, when they're faced with that awful situation, then I feel like I've done something in his name.
Yeah. Yeah. I do feel like some mom or dad is gonna feel like empowered because they, like
And
you said, they saw you doing that.
Yeah. And it may not be now, it may not be till next year when someone goes through this horrific experience. But
Yes.
if in that moment they can just remember that they saw that you can do that, and they find the strength, I feel like that will have accomplished something.
Yeah. Emily, you had started your TikTok account and talked about this experience, and was it largely just to bring awareness to the opportunity to do this?
No, it started off, my TikTok actually has been, I've had a TikTok account since before I had Rosie.
Uh-huh.
When I had horses, I had a TikTok
Oh,
account.
uh-huh.
And then I think it was just after Dexter's funeral, there was a song trending. I made it out alive.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and I just put a few of my videos of Dexter together and posted it. And I literally only had about 1,200 followers at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the beginning of December. And I put it out, and all of the kind of TikTok community mums that I had met through Rosie that all had 2.5-year-olds. A lot of them commented, and I hadn't with Rosie, I kind of documented my pregnancy.
Yeah.
I hadn't done that with Dexter on TikTok, and so many people were like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And then there was a few comments of, are you at home? How did you do like? And I kind of thought, okay, people aren't kind of getting this very much. So I did another one, and then I think I did about 3 videos, and it hit the wrong side of TikTok. I don't know what country it ended up in, but it ended up somewhere. And the comments were horrific.
Oh.
And it made me really upset. And someone reported a video that I had Dexter's face out. And obviously Dexter was quite bruised. And I was new to posting this on TikTok. I'd seen other babies that were born sleeping posted, but I hadn't kind of, I think in my midst of thinking, oh, people didn't really understand this, I kind of just naively posted. And they were all taken down, along with all of my videos of Rosie and my pregnancy.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
All of it was taken down. And I was kind of like, what do I do? Like, I fought TikTok to try and get my videos back, because I think there's 2 videos of Rosie. There's one with Rosie playing with her cousin, and there's one with her playing with some toys on the floor when she was a baby. But the rest of them have all been taken down. And then I kind of was like, do you know what? I'm just going to try again and be a bit more protective of myself and of him. So I started covering his face, and I have to be honest, I'm not 100% sure how, but it has gone from 1,200 followers. I think it was on 50,000.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yesterday. And I'm not quite sure how it got to that point. I'm not sure where it grew that quickly, and kind of that amount. It seems to go through phases where it seems to hit different countries.
Yes.
when it hits a country, then suddenly gets a big influx of people looking and seeing. Last week, Cuddlecot, I don't know why I didn't check. I didn't see if they were on TikTok, and they found my videos, which was
Oh,
really lovely.
yeah.
So they've been helping to help educate people. Where it started off kind of comfort for me, I think for me, I found comfort in sharing Dexter,
Mm-hmm.
in acknowledging that he was here and acknowledging the impact that he had on my life, to using my videos to help educate that actually you can have more time with your baby. There is an option.
Yeah.
And although I completely understand that some countries it's different and the way that we're all set up is different.
Yeah.
However, a cuddle cot is a worldwide piece of apparatus
Mm-hmm.
that can be bought worldwide. So actually, even though it may not be standard practice in a certain country, say your country,
Mm-hmm.
however, in the future, there is nothing to say that, as long as obviously you're the way that the hospital works or however it goes, there's nothing to say that the option won't be there for other mums.
Yeah.
In the UK, the option is here already. We
It's
can take our
definitely
babies
there. Yep.
home.
Uh-huh.
And I'm hoping that actually by spreading this awareness, enough mums will be like, actually, this is what we need. Like, this is the next step forward. This is how to grieve the baby that you've loved for
Yeah.
so long and wanted. This amazing equipment allows us to do that.
Yeah.
And hopefully it will be pushed and hopefully people will be able to utilize it.
Yeah. I think that it's a journey, right? I was like, oh yeah, that's interesting, because we always want to just share our kids. That's, you just want to, you like, with as any parent, you want to share pictures, you want to share what's going on with them, and that's how it started with you. I just think that is, yeah, very natural and awesome that Dexter is able to touch people's lives now because of what you are hoping that people see can be done.
Yeah.
I think
I
that's,
didn't quite expect, like, there's been quite a lot of negative comments on my posts. I think people are scared of death,
yes.
and people are scared of things that they
Yes.
don't know,
Yeah.
which I completely understand. But there has been, I think I've got about 800 messages from mums that have lost their babies, and some in horrific circumstances, some with horrific stories of how their baby, they didn't even see their baby, that
I
they were
know.
taken off them. But mums saying that by seeing the videos that I've posted of Dexter, it's healed them in a way. And that's just amazing, because my videos, and you can see by the videos, like, I don't think anyone will watch my TikTok and think she's putting that on, she's
I,
performing that. They were taken from my memories. I look horrific in all of them. Like,
yeah.
my hair in one of them is just, I hadn't straightened it, I hadn't done anything. I was just taking a video because I knew that moment was priceless. I knew I wasn't going to get it again.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I hope that by people seeing the videos and seeing the love that Dexter brought to everyone around him, that it does give some comfort to those mums that don't have those videos, that don't have that
Yeah.
they're able to see that actually, do you know what, that's exactly how I felt. That's the feeling.
Yeah.
You can't bottle it, you can't do anything with it, but actually that's it.
Yeah.
And they
And
can keep it as well and know that their babies were just as special as Dexter was.
yeah. And essentially being able to name something, because it's so hard to describe the feelings that you go through after having lost a baby, and to be able to say, yes, that's it. That's it. That person is saying exactly what my heart feels, or like my gut feels. And you just are grateful that there are
And I
people
think,
that are willing.
like, I showed one video of, like, the last time that I saw Dexter in the funeral home, and I'm crying. I'm really, really upset. But actually, that is such a taboo subject that no one wants to share. No one wants to see a mother bawling over her
But
baby.
yeah.
No one wants to acknowledge that is the feeling that your heart has being ripped out
Yes.
and is never going to be whole again.
Yeah.
No one wants to acknowledge that that happens, but it does. That is the reality of grief after losing a baby.
Yeah.
That you're never the same person. Your heart is left wherever that baby goes.
Yeah.
And you have to then pick yourself up and carry on your life. And I think to be able to capture that in a video without even meaning to, I just wanted to have the last moments with Dexter on a video.
Mm-hmm.
That for me was what that video was this is our last time together. I need to know that I've got that.
Yeah.
But to be able to share it and show to people, actually, like in that moment, my world was shattering and I was at the bottom of bottom because I was leaving my baby. But actually, I've carried on. Like life does carry on. As heart wrenching as that moment is, we can carry on and we can continue to. Oh, I don't even know the right words to kind of to be strong for the babies that we've lost.
Yeah. Yes. That's beautifully said. You mentioned that at the so you had a couple of services for Dexter, and I loved in the episode you said it was a little selfish of me, but I had two services, and I was like, nope, not at all. I think that it was actually very smart. But you did say at the cremation service that you read a poem, and it's something you wrote. Is that right?
Yes, I did. I'd found a poem that I really like. That actually it was read out as well. Actually,
Oh,
called "Tiny Footprints."
yeah. Do you want to read? I would love to hear both of them because I think people, yeah, some of those are so good at distilling some of the, how we feel. So would you like to share them, or it's up to you?
Yeah, no, I'd love to. Yeah, the "Tiny Footprints" was read out actually by the lady that gave Dexter's service. But I was going to read this. This was the poem that I had found, but when my nan passed away, I can't. It's really bizarre. I can't seem to write a poem from day to day, but when there's a reason to write a poem,
Yes.
I can write a poem.
Yes.
And so I wrote one for my nan, and while Dexter was at home, it kept kind of nagging on me. You read a poem for Nan, you need to write one for Dexter. You can't not. And so I did. I managed to write a poem. I think it was at ridiculous o'clock in the morning. The words just kind of came, and I managed to write it. So this poem, the poem "My Tiny Footprints," was read out by the lady that took the service. But these are my tiny footprints, so perfect and so small. These tiny footprints never touch the ground at all. Not one tiny footprint, for now I have my wings. These tiny footprints were meant for other things. You will hear my tiny footprints in the patter of the rain, gentle drops like angel tears of joys and not from pain. You will see my tiny footprints in each butterfly's lazy dance. I'll let you know I'm with you if you give me half the chance. You will see my tiny footprints in the rustle of the leaves. I will whisper names into the wind and call each one that grieves. Most of all, these tiny footprints are found in my mummy's heart. Even though I'm now gone, we will never truly part.
Oh, beautiful. That's beautiful.
That's that one.
That's
And then,
beautiful.
yeah, the poem that I wrote for Dexter is very much our story, kind of in a poem. I very originally called it Dexter because I didn't know what else to call it.
Yes.
But, I carried you for 9 months, knowing what our fate would be, but I would do it again in a heartbeat if it brought you back to me. Your strong kicks and your hiccups, defying all the odds, doing everything Dexter's way, showing everyone that you could. Once you did decide to arrive in your own time, in your own way, the love you brought with you is something that will always stay. Although I didn't get to say hello before I had to say goodbye, I know you're at peace now, flying high up in the sky. I loved you from the second I knew about you. I love you a million times more. You have brought something in my life that I've never had before. Your strength and your character, the magic that you brought, will never be forgotten with all the lessons that you taught. Now sleep tight, my little man. Mummy is always close. You will live on in my heart, my baby. You'll never be alone.
Oh,
So, yeah.
oh, beautiful. I know. I was just like, oh, that line about goodbyes and hellos before. Yeah. I'm like, oh, yep, that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah, I think that was something. I don't know. I think someone said that to me about the fact that you never got to say hello before you had to say goodbye. And I
Yeah.
think that really stuck.
Yeah.
I think that's quite a hard thing to process. That
Yeah.
actually the hello is goodbye.
Yeah. It is. It, yeah. It's just the experience of just losing a baby and you just are heartbroken, like you said, and there's a part of you that's gone. And, um, yeah. Emily, this has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation, and I appreciate what you've said and all the you also gave such great, I think, great insight and advice in that birth episode. So I encourage everybody to go listen to that because Dexter's a Little Life was just coming through real strong. So is there anything last that you would like to share with us or say about Dexter or I just want to make sure that you're able to say what's on your heart. And actually, before you do that, will you tell us where we can find you on TikTok? So if anybody wants to follow you, they can.
Yes, it's very original. I am mummy to Rosie and Dexter.
Okay, we'll throw that into the description box so that others can find you. But yeah, is there anything else you would like to share with us before we close up?
I don't think so. I think we have covered everything. I'm extremely grateful to have had this space to share Dexter. I'm really happy that we've managed to laugh
Yeah,
and cry
yeah,
um, because that's what I think Dexter's life was. It was happy, just with a bit of a sad ending. But
yeah, yes.
but yeah, I am extremely grateful that Dexter chose me to be his mummy.
Thank you again, Emily. That was perfect. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you.